So hey everybody, so as you can see I am in a different place and I'm actually doing another episode of Sharing Stories, and today who's sharing their story is Channan. And,
hi everyone!
And Channan's got her own channel, so I'll put all the details for that down below and you can check her out, but we've got quite a lot in common, don't we?
Yeah.
So we are going to talk and share some stories. I'm really interested, Channan, because you are telling your story and you've been telling your story since you were 13, haven't you?
Yes.
What is your story?
It's a very vast question. I was diagnosed with HIV when I was born in November 1999. My parents were drug addicts, so I don't know how my mum caught it, but all I know is when I was born, I caught it that way through natural birth. Okay,
so you know, Channan's had it from birth, and so often there's stereotypes of who has HIV, isn't there? You know,
yeah.
You know, as you say, drug addicts, prostitutes, gay people. You know, so I just thought it was really good to talk to Channan because she's just she doesn't fall into that, you know, stereotype. But how was it when you first started telling people?
It was very nerve-wracking at first. Like, before I started to tell people, I had to sit down with my consultant and my mum and other family members and kind of talk with them and see if I'm actually emotionally stable to actually go.
But you were 13.
Yeah.
13 everybody, you know.
Yeah, so at first it was nerve-wracking, but then when I started to do it and then I did it more and more, and the reactions from people, it just made me more excited and made me want to share and teach more people, because it just showed me how much HIV is just stigmatized and people don't know about it, and some people don't even want to know about it.
So what kind of things do you come up against that you know, you find are stigma for HIV?
So a lot of people like not really knowing how it can be passed on, thinking it can just be passed on through sexual intercourse. A lot of people thinking that only like black Africans or gay men have HIV. I don't fit into any of those categories.
Stereotype again,
yeah.
isn't it?
Things like me being bullied in primary school because I have HIV. Like, a mother found out through a teacher by accident that I had HIV, and she encouraged her son to bully me. And also things like relationships at a young age, getting into relationships, boys thinking, oh, we can't have sex, oh, you're gonna pass it on to me, I don't want to have anything to do with you. I've even had some boys just like block me straight away, not want to talk to me anymore, or said, I would date you but I wouldn't date you now because you have HIV.
So how do you find that, like, in dating? Do you find it that it's a problem, or do you find that people, once you explain to people, they understand? You know, what if you were weighing it up, would it be 50-50? Would it be, you know, what would it be?
Well, it depends, because like the people I've come across, it's been majority care that I have HIV and don't want to have anything to do with someone who is HIV positive.
Right.
And there's some that don't, but obviously there's so many people in the world, I'm sure there's loads of men for me who will not care that I have HIV, but the ones I have come across have cared. Yeah.
It's a pain, isn't it?
And some boys don't want to know about it, and if it gets, once you try to educate someone and they don't want to know, I think you just have to stop there and just leave them.
Right. I think it's quite difficult for people of my age to deal with it. So for guys of 18, 19, 20, you know, I just think how do they cope with it, you know, because I know guys of 40 that are stupid, you know, that can't deal with it. So you just think, you know, how are younger guys dealing with it? But I suppose that's all in the future for you to find out.
But I guess it's hard as well, because like they don't know about this condition and they're quite scared of what the outcomes may be, of what will happen to that person, because some people actually think that people with HIV will die. So it's a lot of fear factor as well, not just uneducation but also fear factor.
Yeah. What would be the one thing that you would, if you had the power to change something, about how people see HIV, if you had a magic wand, you know, just one thing that you could change, what would that be?
It's a hard question. I don't want to just say everything.
I threw her under the bus there. I didn't warn her about that question.
It would be to, like, I don't know, maybe like a lot, like media, like we said before, there's not a lot of like media coverage on HIV. Stuff like cancer and those like diabetes is all normalised, but HIV is not normalised. So I think making HIV more normalised, people will be talking about it more. People like me, you, who are educating people, so just people having more of a better understanding of it, and knowing that things like medication and healthcare has moved on so much. Things like undetectable equals untransmittable, babies are not being born with HIV anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I got introduced to Channan through an organisation called Youth Stop AIDS, and you've been talking with them, haven't you?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about what that involved?
So it involved us travelling in a little car for February, 2 weeks. I did 2 weeks, other people did a few days, or and we went to like different cities. We went to Brighton, Plymouth, Manchester, Leeds, Cardiff, and we basically went to different events in the universities. We shared our story. We got people to sign the book so that we could give to Alex de Burke on World Books Day. We also shared information about HIV, got people's signatures. We went campaigning. We stayed in like uni accommodation.
Right. That's amazing. So you were working obviously with other people that were positive, other young people that were positive.
So there was 3 speakers for each event. Yeah, it was very interesting. I'd say our stories are quite different, just because they were quite much older than me. I was the youngest, and also me having HIV from birth and them not having HIV from birth, I'd say it's 2 different things, because they've had to go through that moment where they're actually diagnosed, they're getting told by the doctor, going through all that emotion, whereas I've grown up knowing, and it has been like normalised to me, like, okay, I have this illness, but I've grown up knowing it, and accepting it, knowing that I've had to go to these hospital appointments for a reason, and
Can you remember the first time you were told you had HIV? Can you remember that?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I was about 5 or 6.
Okay, and did you have any idea what it meant?
No. Well, my brother told me.
Okay.
He was very jealous of me, and he was listening in on a conversation between my mum and my social worker, and he came back to me and he was like, "You have ABC disease, that's not fair."
Okay.
But then that's when my mum had to like explain to me. I also had a community nurse that always came to my house and taught me how to take my medication and told me more about what it is. So growing up, it's kind of been installed into me, and then when I've become older, I've started to understand it more, what HIV is.
Were you educated well enough as you grew up, or did you ever have that day where you thought, oh my god, I could die from this?
I'd say no, just because I've had like support there all the time, from my mum, from the hospital, from my consultants, nurses, family members. Support has always been there.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on your channel.
It's been really interesting to talk to somebody so young. I've never spoken to somebody so young about HIV, and I've never spoken to anybody who has had it from birth. So that's kind of given me information that I wasn't aware of. So thank you, Channan. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody out there is going to have lots of interesting things to say about you. All nice things to say, and you can find out more about Channan on her channel. Okay, Thank you.
Thank you.
So you will have seen from the header at the start of the show that Nello, my friend, passed away on March the 18th. If you don't know who Nello is, then you have to watch these videos that I'm going to post here and here. Just of an amazing man who had an amazing life. I was very lucky to be with him at the end and be able to hold his hand and nurse him and just be there with this great group of people that he had made his family. There was so much love. And when I look at what Channan and I are doing, I kind of hope that it's the next step forward, you know, because I remember Nello telling me that 70% of the people in his address book died in the 80s and 90s from AIDS. And I just hope that what we're doing is going some way towards making sure that never happens again. This one's for you, Nello.